What's up, guys? Ryan here from Instigating with Clarkey and Drury. I am, of course, Ryan Drury, and we are brought to you, as always, by CoolBet and in part by the Listowel Squash Courts as well. I decided I wanted to do an impromptu little video, a review, if you will, a more extensive review of NHL22. Now, we touched on the game and what it's like this year, which is essentially, for the most part, the exact same as recent years, which is a theme with EA, who makes these games. And we did that at the end of episode 2 of our show. Go check out our YouTube channel. Follow us at Instigating Pod on Facebook and Twitter. You can find links to it there and listen on all the best podcast apps. But I really felt this year as my patience and overall contempt of the game series go in opposite directions. My patience is here and my contempt level is here on your screen. And so I really wanted to just do a more in-depth talk about overall, really not just even this game specifically, which I will definitely point out some specific things with this year's edition, more so the series as a whole and some of the things that have just gone wrong for EA, all by their doing. I want to start before I get into some clips, because I decided, you know what, I'll just do some impromptu clips that I shot on my iPhone of me playing the game. I don't have that game capture technology that people use for streaming on Twitch and whatever. Nobody wants to see me play NHL for 3 hours anyway. So I said, I'll just take my nice HD iPhone here and shoot some videos of the screen of me playing. I want to start by saying that I'm playing on the PS4. I'm playing on the past generation. It is impossible to get a hold of a PS5 these days. They're also a bajillion dollars. And I want to get one probably next year, but I am playing on the older console. So that has to be said. I have seen it on the newer console right in front of my face. I've seen it. It does look, you know, markedly better in terms of graphical enhancement. I will say, as I did in our shorter review on the show, that that's one of the positives, and I'll start with that. Like, the game looks better, like graphically, that's great. I'd also like to say that really across any video game, I really don't care how good the graphics are if the game isn't fun. Like, graphics are a nice extra enhancement, but if the game is not that fun to play, or you get bored because you're not obsessed with opening online packs that cost real money on top of the $90 you already spent, then I really don't care. But I will say that, you know, the graphics look good. The Frostbite engine, which I also mentioned in our shorter review on episode 2 of the show, is a nice upgrade and everything, but it's probably too little too late, because now that the games are entering the next generation of consoles on PS5 and Xbox, for some reason, still not on PC. PC gamers, I got you, man. They should be doing this for PC. It would probably be really bad anyway. Ports to PC are terrible. Yeah, great. Like, the graphics are fun. Like, the jerseys look better, they flow better. Player likenesses look better to a large degree. And that's fine. And people make, you know, a lot of noise this year, have been making noise this year about it's the same thing EA does every year. Oh, we've got all these new features. You don't. You just take something that you've done previously, EA, and remarket it as something else. This year, though, I will say that the Superstar X Factor system, very divisive amongst the NHL playing community. I realize that. I personally like it. Like, I don't hate it. I think it is somewhat innovative. They've been doing it in Madden, which are awful games. Don't play those. But I don't mind it, because one of my biggest, and people who know me know this, one of my biggest complaints about the NHL series the last few years, really since the debacle that was NHL 15, is that when you're using star players, a lot of the time, like, you can't tell the difference between you're using a star player or a third line or fourth line center. And that's annoying to me, because the thrill of watching sports or consuming sports content in general is watching the best athletes in the world do things that other people can't, including their lesser skilled teammates. Like, if you're an Edmonton Oilers fan, yeah, I'm sure you love Zach Kassian and guys like that. And Zach Kassian's a good hockey player, but you want to see Connor McDavid turn the Jets on and blow by people and go bar down. And you, like, can't do that half the time in these games, because you could be Connor McDavid and you'll get caught on a breakaway by Zdeno Chara. It makes no sense. Alex Ovechkin, my boy. He's you'll be handling the puck with him in the offensive zone, and a guy will give you a little nudge and you get blown off the puck and turn it over. I've noticed stuff like that happens a lot less when you're a guy that's really strong on the puck, like or Bergeron or Crosby. Guys will bump you and you'll kind of roll off checks a little more if you're a star player, really hold on to that puck. Their abilities are a little more enhanced, if you will, when you're using star players. And I like that. I personally think it's a good addition. Really, though, other than that, and I'll touch on some gameplay stuff that I did mention in episode 2 of the show, and I'll mention them in my little clip of gameplay that I took here. They've nerfed the poke checking, the over aggressiveness of it, where pretty much almost 90% of the time you trip a guy, which we all know is unrealistic, because tons of times in the NHL, guys will poke check at guys and they don't fall 90% of the time. Same with the hooking, the X button. You don't automatically always get a hooking penalty when you're right next to a guy and miss the stick. That's positive too. I mean, yeah, you're still going to get a penalty if you're hammering away on the button, like Clarkey, right? Had to get a dig in, Clarkey. But they have nerfed that stuff, and the gameplay overall, I like it a little better. Like, I will give them props for that. Before I start rolling some clips here, and I want to start with the opening menu and just what greets you when you open this year's game, I want to say that I don't blame the staff, the actual devs and the dev team for the issues that I have, at least not to the larger degree where I blame EA. I blame the greedy pigs in their boardrooms that instruct their teams to make their games this way, which is to focus on ultimate team mode and the online garbage, where they can squeeze more money out of 12-year-olds by spending their parents' money on card packs, crossing their fingers they open McDavid. It's a joke, and I'll touch on that a little more at the end of the video. So I don't really have a problem, because they're just doing what they're told. And Sean Ramjagsingh, the head guy of the NHL development team, he takes a lot of heat every year. Some deserved, most not, because again, I don't really blame the guys actually hands-on making these games. I'm sure that they don't I believe they're all big hockey fans. I really do. I don't think they intentionally make these games so annoying to people like me that love the series. I've played literally every single title of my life. I don't believe that they make them intentionally bad. I think that they're just doing what they're told, and I will not fault them for that. And you know, like NHL 15, where it was stripped bare, the most embarrassing game in NHL history, maybe sports gaming history, literally the most embarrassing one. I don't feel like, you know, that dev team walked out of developing that game and felt good about what they had done. I bet you a lot of them felt ashamed, and rightly so. But large picture, it's not their fault. So I just want to say that I'm not directing this anger toward the development team, at least some of the time, because some of the things I'm going to point out in here are things that the team are absolutely responsible for and need to pay more attention to. But, you know, the video game industry at large has a lot of overworked employees. So I don't necessarily big scheme blame them for that even necessarily. Some of the little details I'll point out in these clips that made me so mad. But let's begin. I'll stop yapping for a second here, and I want to roll the clip here of the opening menu and my thoughts on just how the game looks when you initially open it.
So guys, here we are at the opening menu that greets you in NHL 22, and yeah, I like it. It's clean, like it looks good. I really like this edition. Of course, everybody are aware of the new thing this year, this Superstar X Factor thing down here, where guys have these special abilities if they're a star player, like Panarin's got Make It Snappy and whatever. I like this a lot. Like, it's cool. It'll go through and play a little video highlight of the guy. Here's one for Clarkey, shock and awe, Austin Matthews, big snapshots off curl drags and or toe drags, pardon me. And so yeah, like it shows this cool little highlight, and I like it's not just like your team on the menu. It rolls through like all these star players and their highlights. McDavid, Wheels, of course, flying around. That's really cool. I like this. This is neat. This is a cool presentation. It's neat. It does the cool autograph thing down here. The player, that was a nasty goal against the Leafs. Sorry, Clarkey. But materially, I mean, the mode, if I can be nitpicky, a little bright. It could use a dark mode. That would be neat. And then you look at the rest, all the modes are exactly the same. Like I mentioned in the franchise part, like everything's materially the same. So it's not even like they don't care about players like me that are casual that want to play sim mode. Look at this guy. Look at that beauty. It's that they don't even care about everybody else that plays online. It's just all the same world of CHEL, all this gobbledygook that is just silly. Yeah, I want to grind online for toques and goofy jackets. Thanks. Like Nasher said, who, if you don't know who Nasher is, he's like the best NHL content creator out there for the game. He's doing EA a ton of favors. Really positive guy. Love his channel. Nasher, you know, like mentioned, EA SHL is where it's at online, where you have your guy, your avatar, and you play with other people. That's the best part of CHEL, is playing with your friends, not this card opening garbage, which is exactly the same as it always is, this hut crap. And yeah, the menu is like a little different. It's clean. It's okay. Yeah, whatever. I mean, it's EA.
So there's the opening bit. And like I said, I like the menu. Like, it looks clean. It's cool. But everything is markedly the same, like I mentioned. And overall, though, like, the menu looks clean. I want to say this in a nitpicky way, too, because I'll be nitpicky about this stuff. I pay money for it. Everybody pays money. And I'll say as well quickly, if you like the game and like love the series, that's awesome, man. That's really great. I'm fired up for you that you're having fun with it and you love the online centric features of HUT. Like EASHL, the online mode where you're a club and you play with your friends, that's like the best stuff. At the heart of NHL, the best part of it is playing with your friends. That is what made NHL so legendary to me and my friends growing up. I remember my friends and we would pre-order the game back when like EB Games would have like midnight releases for stuff. We would pre-order the game and then skip school the next day and not go to class. And we would go to the mall and wait outside, get the game, and we'd go to one of our houses and play it all night. We would play the new NHL game all night. It was glorious. We loved the game so much, and we loved playing with each other. That's the magic at the essence of what really any sports game is, but CHEL in particular. Sports are fun to play with other people, and the games are the most fun with other people. And it's lost that a little bit with this ultimate team nonsense. Let's move on. I want to talk about my personal favorite mode, because again, if you love the games, great, fine. With this online centric HUT garbage, great. I love the single player simulation style, because that's what these games are supposed to be, a licensed simulation of the sport. And franchise mode is the best. I love running a team and winning the Stanley Cup and doing whatever. It's great. Let's have a gander at what that looks like this year and see if there's anything different from the last 7 or 8.
So here we are in the franchise mode. As you can see, I'm in the Stanley Cup final for some reason playing Chicago. No idea why that's the case. And as you can see, it is materially the exact same as every other year for a decade plus now. The menu looks exactly the same. Yeah, they mixed a couple other colors in, and now it's yellow whenever you move around, and isn't that neat? But it's materially the same. Here's, the start menu with the calendar in the bottom and all this other stuff. This franchise overview garbage that they have over here where you can open the thing and spend money to upgrade the arena. It literally affects nothing, of course. And then you go over, everything's exactly the same. Everybody who's been playing these games for the last decade plus knows exactly what this looks like. It's nothing new. It's literally the exact same thing. And here's another thing that really drives me up the wall. The attention to detail is just ridiculous. Like, it's so lame. This activity feed thing, just get rid of this. Why is this here? Like, why am I looking at this? There's nothing. It's just like the teams will do updates and say, oh, so-and-so's injured and whatever. Does anyone, look at this? And then it's hockey analyst. Like, they don't even care, and I know I'm nitpicking, but they don't even care to, give it, a name or something. An EA employee, I'd rather just see Clapperton's name there, Clappy on Twitter or something. Just anybody, a hockey analyst and just some bald guy. Yay. And it's just ridiculous. So franchise mode's literally exactly the same. There's zero change, of course. And I'm in the Stanley Cup final. I can't wait to see if the Stanley Cup final celebration for winning the cup is any different.
So as you can see, yeah, it's the exact same. There's literally nothing different about franchise mode. They put no love or care into this. The way you interact with your team is exactly the same. There's stuff that's in here that on the surface, when you see it, go, oh, that sounds like a neat feature, but they literally have no impact on what goes on with your organization. Like the player morale system, where a guy will come to you and say, oh, I'm not getting enough ice time. I want to play with different teammates. And then you have an interaction with them and say, oh, I promise I'll give you more ice time, or I'll play you with a better line. And whether you do it or not, you see a little meter where their happiness goes down or up. Literally has no effect on anything. Sometimes their ratings drop a little bit, but generally, if you just forcibly keep them on the team, it turns right around and it has no effect on anything. Same with the owner mode, if you will, where you can set the prices to food and parking and everything. It's so surface level, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't affect how your team plays on the ice. It doesn't do anything. It's just silly. There's really no care put into the scouting system. They say there isn't. The trade deadline thing. One cool thing they used to do years ago was at the trade deadline, way back, they had this thing where you had multiple phones that would be ringing, and you could pick them up and answer trade calls at trade deadline day, and you could use a phone and call people. It was a sick feature. It's gone. No, we don't want to put that in, because really what it is a nitpicky thing where I want to feel immersed. I know they can make me feel more immersed because they used to have features that would do that, and they don't. For instance, in FIFA, which deserves plenty of criticism as well, all EA Sports titles I've mentioned, you notice in FIFA, there's a thing where if you transfer for a player, you try and buy a player from another club, and it's just a little thing, but it immerses you. A cutscene will play where you will sit down with the manager of the team in an office of the team you're trying to buy the player from and have a full scale negotiation about the player and the price, the add-ons. It's incredible. Same with the player. After you agree to buy a player, that player comes into your office and you negotiate a contract in this little cutscene. And it's just a little thing that just makes you feel a little more immersed, right? And I know what some people are going to say right now, but Ryan, FIFA, the series FIFA, which is backed by the most ridiculous ultimate team nonsense ever, it makes way more money than the NHL series for EA, Ryan. And so the dev team doesn't have the same resources in the NHL Vancouver side as the FIFA team does. And that makes my blood boil, and I can feel it rushing through my eyes right now, because if that is your argument, and that's EA's argument, oh, well, the NHL series doesn't have the same resources and makes as much money as FIFA. Okay. Well, then, to quote the great Jim Carrey in Ace Ventura, why, oh, why is it the same price then? Riddle me this. If your excuse for a lack of innovative, truly features that immerse single player fans of your games like me is that you don't make as much money making this game as this game, how come they're the same price then? How come? I want to know. Genuinely. And here, let's dig more into some little details that I'm going to be finicky with this mode. You finish up the season and you go into free agency, right? And I'll get into some gameplay and the cup celebration as well, because of course I win the cup my first year with the Capitals, and that's a nitpicky thing we're going to see as well. But let's look right now at free agency, and just a thing that, again, it's a lack of attention to detail, and it makes me really mad.
Okay, guys, here I am in the free agent menu in my first off season of franchise mode on CHEL22, and I've re-signed a bunch of guys, capped myself out for another dominant cup run with the Caps. Here's just another nitpicky attention to detail thing that's just so unrealistic in franchise mode, and just further proof that they don't give a damn about players like me that want to fully immerse themselves in running a hockey team. Look at this. There's Jason Spezza, a guy who's 39. He's a free agent here, and he's been playing on league minimum salary in Toronto. He's an 82 overall, it says. He wants $5.525 million per year. Boy, that's realistic. Yes. Unbelievable. Also, for the record, I just want to say that in this franchise mode season that I simmed through, like big players like me that like just meticulously tinkering with the franchise get crapped on. It's not immersive at all. I want everyone on here to know how unrealistic the simming is. Connor McDavid wasn't even in the top 10 in scoring. He had 83 points. The silence speaks volumes. I got no more words.
How ridiculous is that? How ridiculous is that? Why? Because they have this overall system where the players overall dictates how much they ask for, but they don't measure it in a realistic way. Why would Jason Spezza get like $6 million? Oh man, it makes me mad. And here's an even stupider one where I just took a still shot, and I'll put that up now. Here's a still shot of a trade offer I got, and you're going, why is Ville Heinola on the Capitals, Ryan? I picked him up at the deadline as a depth defenseman. Let me say that one more time. A depth defenseman. And here's the offer that Edmonton fires my way. Hey, Ken Holland, EA's doing you dirty, brother. They're doing you dirty with this one. Have a gander at this. Why would the Edmonton Oilers give me Jesse Puljujarvi, a guy who's been a long-term project for them that's actually starting to turn into a very useful player, for a depth defenseman that barely played for my team on its cup run? Oh, and also look at the draft picks. I'm trading the worst player, no disrespect, Ville Heinola, I'm trading the worst player in this deal that was, by the way, proposed to me, and I'm getting the better draft pick too? Huh? Really, eh? Really, EA, I should say. I didn't mean for that to rhyme. That's how angry I am. I'm turning into a bad children's rapper. AEA, what do I play? It's ridiculous. I sound like Happy Gilmore right now. That's how mad this makes me. It's unbelievable. It's just these little details where you see the level of care and attention that is paid to these modes that made this franchise what it is. Let me say that again. That made this franchise what it is. But of course, the internet ruins everything, doesn't it? Because now it's all about Hockey Ultimate Team. And even that mode is the exact same. There's no new thing going on or new stuff. It's just, they updated the look of the cards that you pay real money for and pull out these dumb packs. So it's just nitpicky things like that that really bug me. I don't understand why it has to be like that. Now I'll show you a little clip here of some gameplay, just the computers playing each other in one of my Stanley Cup final games that I was playing. I'll show you a quick clip of the gameplay. And I genuinely, again, do think that the gameplay is better. So I'll show that to you now.
So here we are, Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final. Caps up 4-3 here as I try and lock it down. I've just turned it on to auto here, so obviously you're just seeing the computer play, but just wanted to give you a little bit of an idea of what the graphics are like. Now, mind you, of course, I'm playing on a PS4. I'm not fancy. I don't have the new console. Yeah, it looks markedly better, I guess. The lighting's way better, I'll say that. Like, the lighting is definitely noticeably cool. The fans, still look like garbage. I mean, that's a nitpicky detail for sure. But, and that weird score bug at the bottom, I don't know, it doesn't bother me too much. Some people can't stand it. I don't hate it. Like, it's not the worst thing I've ever seen. Gameplay, yeah, the poke checking is not as dumb. It's not nearly as silly, and you don't trip guys every single time. That's for Clarky. Look, I like that cool new graphic that they do with the over the ice thing. Yeah, it's pretty neat. The Frostbite engine makes a marked difference, I guess. Like, guys hold on to the puck a little better. You don't get knocked off it as easily. It's just very minor differences. Like, you might notice a couple things, and the X factors, yeah, they factor in some. I don't know how much it really feels different. I guess a little bit. In terms of the player abilities that are unique to star players. Yeah, they're kind of cool and whatever. Oh, big save by Fleury. Yeah, it's okay. Like, I definitely wouldn't say the graphics are redonkulous better. Certainly not worth spending another $90 better. But I mean, like, it's okay. The line change things, you can see they're exactly the same. Like, it's all just the same. It's the same. Like, that's your gameplay. It's a little better, a little more crisp, not land breaking.
And so, yeah, the gameplay, like, it does look better. A lot of people are complaining that it's slower, that it's muddy. It definitely is slower paced and less arcadey, I'll say, but you can tune the game to play that older school way if you want. Like, there's I will say that an extensive tuner set in the game where you can really cater it to really play almost however you want. But the base of the gameplay is better. But again, I'm showing you a clip there, or I showed you a clip of a little bit of a Stanley Cup final game. And here's another thing. Here's the thrill that I had as a child, right? Playing these games was taking the Washington Capitals and winning the Stanley Cup. Yeah. So the cup celebration, here's how little they continue to still care about players like me in terms of immersing us and feeling like we're an NHL general manager. Here's the cup celebration from this year and 2021 and 20 and 19, and you get the picture. Let's roll it.
Okay, so as you can see, it's 4-3 Caps. There's 1 second left in the third period of Game 6. About to win the Stanley Cup. Let's have a gander at the cup celebration and see if anything has changed. Let's have a look. Time's expired. Hooray. The Caps win. Good job, Samsonov. Hooray. Ovi gets number 2. And, oh, look. It's, it's exactly the same, isn't it? Oh. So far, literally nothing's changed. Maybe a couple differences if I remember, a couple little hops, skips, and jumps that are sort of different. Sorry, Kirby Doc, looking real bummed out there. That sucks. Yep, so this is basically exactly the same. Maybe a couple animations are slightly different. Barely. Sorry, Flower. Looking real bummed there. And as you can see, there's always some glitching going on. Like, guys, that's the other thing in gameplay and after goals and stuff. Wow, look at Ovi's salt and pepper there. I don't know why he has a mohawk. You'll see guys like glitch out. Like, sometimes guys will just disappear. They'll just conjoin into each other in scrums after the whistle. Here's what we really want to see, though, right? Like, there's going to be, I guess they'll do the Art Ross thing. Hooray, we're still celebrating. Yeah, Will Butcher traded for him. So there's the Art Ross, and Ovi wins again, and that's great. Exactly the same. Oh, have a gander there. Not Gary Bettman. That's interesting, and that's nitpicky. God, Ovi's hair looks terrible. Ovi's hair looks terrible, guys. Ugh. And now here comes the Stanley Cup, and it's not Phil Pritchard and the other guy. Again, a nitpicky thing, but, like, why would anybody at this company pay any attention to detail to really immerse us? I mean, that would, be ridiculous. The cup looks pretty good. Like, I like that you can really, like, see the definition of the text. But, oh, look at this. It's literally the exact same Stanley Cup presentation as it has been since what, like NHL 12 or something? Hooray! And hey, this is a fun image for me. Look at Ovi. That's great. Stanley Cup, a little toss around, and he doesn't even do anything with it. And for some reason, hands it to Anthony Mantha, which, I mean, fine, I guess, and he skates through the carpet! Oh, no, that's different! He skated through the carpet, guys. Oh, no. Yep, it's exactly the same. Hooray, franchise mode. Woo! Yay!
Well, isn't that just exactly the same? Right? When you go back and you look at other games that EA, at the heart of this, they have no competition. The NHL has an exclusive license with them. And I mentioned in episode 2 of our show, Instigating with Clarky and Drury, which you're watching a bonus episode right now of, that FIFA is canceling their exclusive partnership with EA. That's the biggest property you can have, is the FIFA series. And even they're fed up and they want to explore other options, probably with Sega and the like, that I believe it's them that make PES, Pro Evolution Soccer. The NHL has to follow suit. They used to have like the ESPN and 2K series. Were the EA games better? Some years, yeah. Some years I thought the 2K game was better. And I believe it was 2K10, the one with Ovi on the cover, where when you won the Stanley Cup, you had a whole thing where like you could interactively skate around with the cup and lift it up, kiss it a bunch of times. You could just skate around the ice endlessly, really, and keep passing it off to teammates with button prompts. Like, you were in full control of the cup celebration. It is unbelievably immersive and neat. It was just a cool feature. But screw that. We can't put it in the EA game, even though you definitely could put it in. But, our resources aren't the same as FIFA. But then we're just going to charge the same amount of money. Same amount of money for the game, $90 for a glorified roster update. That's the running joke. Glorified roster update for $90, which isn't completely the case with this game. But it mostly is. Like, isn't it? I've shown you the evidence of that. Go watch other reviews. There's a great channel on YouTube that just put out an informative video on the decline of the NHL series. Soft Drink TV, check it out. Check that video out. I'll link it in the description of this video. It's really, really good. And the points are all extremely valid. And there are people out there that are doing more for the NHL community and the game than the company is themselves. Like Nasher, that big Columbus Blue Jacket fan. Nasher rips. That guy's fantastic. And like he's doing way more for EA than they are. Like, that's terrible. He's not even an employee. He's just a fan of the game like me. And again, if you love the game, fine. But I spend the money too. Right? And so I feel like I have a right, as any consumer buying a product, to criticize it justly, in my opinion here, for shortcomings. There's all those great videos online of the list of giant features that have been cut out of the game over the years. One of the best ones that people consistently still beg for to come back. It's not even an innovative thing that they want. It's a thing that EA did, and then they took it from us, was the NHL GM Connected mode, where you could play franchise mode online with your friends. I think it was like up to 10 people. I actually think you could have had 30 at the time when there were still 30 NHL teams. This is something I'm talking about like 10 years ago almost. And it was a thing where you could have literally every single team controlled by one of your friends in an online GM mode and outbid your friends for trades, for players, and play each other. We had like 10 guys in this league. The other teams are all CPU controlled, and it was a blast. It was so much fun. And then they just took it away. And some of the excuses for that, much like the money and resources argument I brought up with FIFA earlier. Oh, well, we don't have time to kind of put that back in the game, and it's, it's a lot of resources, and AKA we need to our bosses are telling us to focus on Ultimate Team, so we can't unfortunately bring back GM Connected mode. But you could, right? Because we've seen you do it, and it's not like it's this chunk of data that just erodes over time like a rock on the beach or a car rusting in your front lawn. You have it. You have the thing. You made it, EA. You have the thing. You could put it back in. It's not a situation where, like, if I did a backflip for you guys on camera right now, and then a year went by and I gained 30 pounds, and then you were like, do the backflip again, Ryan. And I was like, well, I can't do it because some features of my body are a little lacking now, and it's not the same as a year ago. That's not what it's like at all. Because we saw you do it. It's in the game. EA, it's in the game. Your stupid slogan. How come it isn't, though, actually? Blatant lies. EA, it's in the game. It's not. It's not. What a fun, cool thing. But here's what it is. It couldn't make them money. It couldn't make them microtransaction, garbagey money. That's what it is. And they took a really fun thing and they took it away from us. One of the other cool things that I've loved about sports games over the years is the Be a Pro mode, where you create yourself and you go on an NHL career or a soccer career or whatever it is, right? And you guide your guy to the Hall of Fame and whatever. The mode this year is exactly the same as the last few years. And again, it's just got a bunch of stuff in there, fancy icing on a crappy cake that looks good on the surface, but has no material value on how the game carries out. Like this management system of your likability and your brandability, and these dumb meters that go up and down depending on how you play and how you interact with the media and your teammates. You have these empty, vapid conversations with your coach and your agent about this and that. And for some reason, your teammates constantly ask you to go to the museum. Like, it's just so unrealistic, right? Like, everybody's Dougie Hamilton now. And that's no disrespect, Dougie. You like museums, that's great. But just like every other conversation, my teammate walks up to me, he's like, hey, the team's going to the museum, Ryan. You want to come, or your likability will go down. And then it's even better, right? A teammate will say it to you, oh, come to the museum or come bowling or something, right? And I just started playing, and I'll show you a clip that made me so mad. In Be a Pro, my teammate walks up to me and says, come bowling with us. And I go, okay, definitely. And his response was, it's great that you're being a team player. Next time you call for the puck, I'll make sure to get it to you. Huh? Really? Are these conversations that happen in NHL? I had two cousins play in the league. There's just absolutely no way that conversations go down like this. What, the guy doesn't want to go bowling with you one night, and then you have him on a wide open breakaway to win in overtime, and you're not going to pass him the puck? Do you know what would happen if that actually was real and a coach found out that, like, oh, the reason that they're having a beef and things aren't working for them on the ice is because he's mad he didn't go bowling with him? Stranger things have happened in sports, I suppose. It is real life after all. And this is not a good simulation of real life, is it? That's not what I'm asking for. Just a little more attention to detail. Like, why do I have to go to the museum after every game? Every game museum? You see the Mona Lisa once, it's like, it's kind of enough. I'm not art guy. Mona Lisa's in Europe. But it's just so annoying, guys. It's annoying. I'm sweating right now. I'm sweating through this beautiful KHL Kuznetsov jersey. I'm mad, right? And here's one that sent me over top of the wall where I went, wow, here's a good piece of evidence of how little they really do care about these single player modes. This Be a Pro clip that I didn't even want to make a little snippet of, but I had to because it blew my skull apart. Here it is.
Okay, I wasn't even going to do another video as part of the review, but I just had to do this. I just started playing the Be a Pro mode here on NHL22, and again, just the lack of detail. Does anybody at EA pay any attention to this? I'm in a press conference right now. I'm playing for the Guelph Storm in the Memorial Cup. That's where you can start your career if you want. And I'm through the round robin, and now I'm in the Memorial Cup final, and my player is doing an interview in front of, I don't even know what this is. Like, what background is this? Everything's just black. No Memorial Cup branding on anything. It's like, who the hell knows what this is? And then, so I'm doing a press conference with reporters. Check out the question I'm asked. Who is approving any of this? First of all, the thing starts, comma, you're on the now. Okay. No semblance of proper English. That's an alien learning how to speak English. You're on the now, but do you think... And then also, look at the rest of the question. Do you think you're going to continue the success you had on your previous team? I'm still on the same team. I'm still on the Guelph Storm. Like, what is... I'm in the final of the tournament. I'm still on the team. God, it's just infuriating.
I don't even know what to say about that one. I don't even know what to say about that one. And that one's a little bit on the dev team, isn't it? Because they're so short-staffed, video game industry people as a whole, they're so short-staffed, they cram work on top of everybody, the crunch as they call it in the industry, which isn't fair. You can read various articles about that. And so some intern at EA is probably the one responsible for typing up this dialogue, and of course no one checks it because they don't care about Be a Promo, because it can't make the money, because they can't sell microtransactions. And that brings me really to the end of this review. If you like NHL 22, awesome. I like the gameplay more than in recent years. I will agree that going to the Frostbite engine is a step forward for the game and the gameplay, but it's still so feature bare outside of people that want to just play HUD all the time. And that's a real problem. And the NHL needs to step up once for its fans. The NHL hates their fans. They'll tell you different, but they don't. They allow EA to run a monopoly on this series, this once great series. It was a huge part of my childhood. You know, it's bad enough that tickets are obscene. Merchandise and hats are obscene. Concessions at most of the arenas are obscene. And they can't even give us this one little cookie where the game is good again to just be enjoyed on your own. I'm older now. I'm 30, guys. I'm 30. And I don't have time to see my friends all the time and sit down on the couch and play CHEL like the good old days. And so what's left for me other than to spend credit card money on Ultimate Team packs? And that's really what I want to close this on, is the Ultimate Team thing. And I am not saying anything unique here. Watch Angry Joe's reviews of Madden and what's happened. That Madden might be the worst sports game on the market. The lack of attention to detail and things on those games. Watch Angry Joe. He'll tell you, he'll show you. And I mean, playing Madden, the gameplay is unbelievably bad. It looks like an emporium of broken G.I. Joe toys with linesmen's arms are spinning off at the socket. Guys' legs are rotating at the knee. Like, it's the glitches are unbelievable. And there's a lot of glitches in this year's NHL game. Guys just teleporting through each other, the goaltender teleporting through the post. There's a weird thing happening. I don't know if it's just on PS4, guys, or if it's on I read someone said that it was happening on Xbox, the new Xbox, where you'll get the puck sometimes and just you can't skate. You can't go anywhere. You just stop. Happens at least 6 or 7 times a game. They got to patch that out. And there's the problem. Video games as a whole, this isn't just an EA problem. Games know now, because of online features, that they can just patch mistakes out later. Are mistakes going to happen? They always have in video games. It's always been glitches. I can't make a video game. It's an incredibly difficult thing. But that's the point here, is that EA is making billions of dollars. They have so much money from these Ultimate Team things. Billions of dollars. Billions. And they can't make these things right, because all their focus is on getting your money after you already spent $90 Canadian to play the game every year. It's unacceptable. Right? And that's what I want to say. I really feel like the annualized sports game releases need to stop. I think that they should stop putting games out every single year. They can update the roster at the turn of the seasons. And roster sharing's finally in NHL. Of course, it's not coming to December, because that's the problem with the video game industry. Developers know now that they can just ship a game out with a myriad of gross problems, and they'll just patch it later online. But give us the money now. Give us the money now, and we'll fix it later. Look what happened with Cyberpunk. One of the most hyped games of all time. What a piece of garbage that is. And that was from one of the greatest video game developers of all time, CD Projekt Red. There is no salvation in this industry. No one that's completely clean. It's ridiculous. And EA's the worst. Do you guys realize, and you can look this up online, like every year there's this like business respectability report in the US. Do you realize that like EA is at the bottom of that all the time? Under like banks. How do you pull that off? That shows just how infuriated. So I know I'm not alone in this review. That shows how infuriated a majority of gamers are with EA. To have it rank at the bottom below like loan companies, banks, other tech companies, EA at the bottom. It takes some doing. I have a compromise to end this video. And I know it's been a long one, guys. I'm sorry. And if you've stuck this out, I appreciate you. Follow the show at Instigating Pod on Facebook and Twitter. Follow the show and listen to the podcast on all the best podcast apps. We're available there. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. I really appreciate you. I have a compromise to end this off, EA. How about you have a dev team that's actually committed to making a good NHL sim? And I know you have the money to do both these things. So do that. And I'll give you the $90 every year. Even though I don't feel like sports releases should be annualized anymore, but I'll do it. If you literally can make the game more enjoyable and fun to play beyond online, and take Ultimate Team and make that a completely separate game, but make it free to play. I can hear heart attacks happening right now in the EA boardroom at the suggestion of making something free. But if you want to have this Ultimate Team thing, make it free to play. And the people that love this mode, and fine if you do, will still spend money on the packs. So you'll still make all your Ultimate Team money. And then the people that love the game, and maybe the Ultimate Team people do too, they'll spend money on the game and still give you Ultimate Team money for packs, praying Sidney Crosby's in one of them. Right? And the Ultimate Team thing really at the end of the day is gambling. I don't care what EA says about this mechanic of crossing your fingers and spending real world money. Most of the time, kids, there was a story recently, a kid down in Texas, I think, maxed his mom's credit card out buying Madden Ultimate Team packs, crossing your fingers, hoping that you'll get Tom Brady or something. Probably doesn't want Tom Brady if he's in Texas. Dak Prescott. It's gambling. It's not surprise mechanics. That's a dumb way of saying gambling. If you go to a roulette wheel and you spin it, you don't know what's going to happen, but you wager that it'll land on black. Always bet on black. How is this any different? Legitimately, it isn't. And that's why a lot of countries have banned the Ultimate Team thing. But I'll even compromise with you there, EA. Release HUT as a free-to-play game and just make it rated T for teen. And just say, that it includes these gambling mechanics. Just be honest about this BS that's in your game and make sure that people are old enough to understand how damaging that can be. Gambling addiction's a real problem, okay? But you could have your cake and eat it too or whatever. I'm done, guys. I'm so hot. I'm sweating through this KHL shirt. Maybe they should just make a game. I'll play it instead. It's friggin' ridiculous. NHL22. Hooray! Thanks for watching. This is Instigating with Clarky and Drury. We'll see you soon.